Hello there, and welcome once again to the Open Door Show from propertyCEO. It's great to have you here as always. My name is Ritchie Clapson, and over the next 30 minutes, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of small-scale property development. As often, we talk to movers and shakers, but today it's just me. I'm going to be talking about a subject I keep getting questioned on. I keep getting asked about this particular subject. So I thought I'd cover this one today. I thought it might be quite useful, give you some information, give you a bit of guidance and steerage of maybe what you should be thinking of doing in property development. Most importantly, and we always say this here at Open Door, got to have a bit of fun. So relax, sit back and enjoy what we're going to be talking about. So what am I going to be talking about on today's show? I'm going to be talking about what is property development the best property business strategy. Now, I don't like the word strategy. A lot of people will know that I do not like the word strategy, but I'm going to use it today because I think so many people understand the word strategy and they think, what strategy should I do? What's the latest strategy in property? So I'm going to challenge you today, and I'm going to put the question out there. Is property development the best property business strategy? I've put the word business in because I'm a great believer that you've got to think about this first and foremost as a business, okay? Forget strategies, first of all. This is a business. The strategy that the business is going to adopt is whatever it's going to be. And I'm going to suggest property development, but I want you to think of it as a business. Hopefully that makes sense. So what am I talking about? Let's get into this for today. Well, so many people ask me, they talk about property development. They go, yeah, but what's the marketplace like? What's the marketplace like in 2023? I remember back in 2020. What's the marketplace in 2020? I remember back in 2016, 2008. It's over all the years. Everyone always says, well, what's the marketplace like? What's it like? Is it a good strategy right now? Is it a good business to get into property development? Well, I think it is, okay? And actually, this might sound a bit daft. It always is. It always is a terrific strategy to get into. I say always. Maybe not forever and a day, but I reckon for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that'll see me out, that's for sure. Okay, maybe a lot of you, it'll be fine. Because there's a number of fundamental underlying reasons as to why property development, for many, okay, not for everyone, is probably the best property business strategy. So, what's this all about? Well, first of all, it depends where you are. It depends where you sit. Let me first of all say that property development is not get rich quick. Okay. So if you want to get rich, I don't know, sing and dance, get a lottery ticket, something like that, but you're not going to get quick. Not going to get quick. I mean, rich. You're not going to get rich quick. That's what I was going to say. Not quick rich. I guess they're the same things. You're not going to make a lot of money that quickly in property development. So if you're in a position and you want to get out of your job and you want to build some income, some regular income to get you out the job to pay your bills within 12 months, don't do property development because it won't get you there in 12 months, okay? 2 years, it might do. Might start yielding you some big lumps of cash, maybe some cash flowing if you hold on to some of the properties. But this is a 2-year journey. Beyond that, it works extremely well. So for a lot of people, maybe you need some passive income, okay? However, passive income is, because most of the time passive income is not passive at all. Who's got buy-to-lets? Anyone out there got buy-to-lets? Anyone listening to this? Yeah, I guess a few of you have. Well, are they passive? Well, for the most part, maybe. But those times when they're not, when the boiler breaks, when there's a problem, when the tenants set fire to it, when the tenants trash it, I don't know. Or when there's voids. Well, they're not passive then. What about HMOs? Are they passive? Well, less so. More problems perhaps with interaction with the HMO tenants. I had one student who was doing some of our training. He had to disappear. It was some online stuff. And he said, I've got to go. And he'd come back and I said, what happened? He said that the HMO tenants burnt down the property. They burnt it down. Well, that's not passive, is it? Okay. What about service departments? Definitely not passive. Now, I know you can outsource all this stuff. Okay. But service departments definitely aren't passive. Okay. However good you are, it's not. You've constantly got to be on that. It's like a hotel. I used to develop hotels. I used to work with some companies that developed hotels and they held all the hotels. Whoa, not for me. Big work, a lot of involvement. I mean, if that's your bag, that's great, but definitely not passive. But if you do need passive income, however you frame that, however it looks, and you want to get some buy-to-let, some HMOs or maybe serviced apartments, either buying or the rent-to-rent route, then go and do that, because that will yield you some money quicker. But what if you don't need that? What if you've already got a portfolio? Are you someone out there? Are you an existing landlord that's got a portfolio that's yielding you £2,000 or £3,000 a month, £4,000 a month? Maybe a combination of buy-to-lets, HMOs, serviced apartments. Is that you? Yeah, maybe it is. And maybe you're looking for that next thing. Maybe you're looking to build some cash into assets. Maybe you're looking to build an asset portfolio much quicker. Rather than, okay, for a lot of people, that income that they draw out of their portfolio often leaves really just that sort of capital growth in those assets, which sometimes can take quite a while, certainly in deprived areas. So a lot of people are working up north in building their portfolios, which is great income from a cash flow point of view, but not such good from a capital growth point of view. The equity increases in some of those properties are very slim. So it can take you years to build up that equity. So actually, a lot of people, once they've got that passive income, are looking for stacking that capital, looking for getting those assets, looking for big lumps of cash. Or maybe you're someone out there, maybe you're an existing business. You've got an existing business, could be completely unrelated to property. Maybe you've got a good job, but you've got a bit of spare time. And actually what you're looking to do is not to get that passive income, not to get that regular monthly income, because you've got that. What you really want now is those lumps of cash. So property development really is the only strategy, the only business strategy within property that yields big lumps of cash. Okay, just doesn't do it that quick. So if you want it quickly, have a think about building a bit of a portfolio, although just think about how you're going to do that and what the best way to do that is and how much that can earn. Get realistic. Don't get starry-eyed. Understand what that's about. But actually, if you want those lumps of cash, then think about property development. And why is it the best property business strategy? Well, let's take a look at it as a business. And I say it's a business. And I want you to think about this just as a business. Forget it's property. Okay, we're going to make some widgets. That's what we're going to make, the widgets, whatever the widgets are. And any business, if you think about this, there's some of you out there, I mean, who's in business at the moment? Quite a few of you, yeah, I'm guessing. So if you're an existing business owner, okay, maybe a partner in a business, a shareholder, maybe you're a management team, so you understand how your business works, that your bosses and shareholders actually own. So if you're sat out there, you'll understand business, okay? And for any business to survive, to thrive indeed, and to give great returns, for their owners, for their investors, then we need to have a product. We need to have a widget that we can actually make relatively efficiently, okay, not too time consuming, and that people want. So what are we going to do that people want in our business? So to start with, what we want to perhaps understand for property and property development is, what is our marketplace? So if we were going to make, I don't know, what about a mobile phone? Perhaps in the day, I mean, who remembers when the first mobile phone came in? We used to have one of those big brick ones, so like a big battery. You used to have to carry it around with a phone that used to clip off the top. You used to take it onto sites and things. It was hilarious. And you look back at it now. But imagine the first person that sat down and went, hey, why don't we make a mobile phone? Now, you younger ones that are listening think, well, we've always had mobile phones. Well, we haven't. Look at the big old, I think they went within Vodafone, I think they were, big brick things. So someone said, well, let's make a mobile phone. Why? A lot of people thought, it's like, why don't we put a phone in the car? Why do you need a phone in the car? You're driving. We used to have phones in the middle bit, you used to pull out with a big long cable. So someone came up with that concept. And someone must have said in a marketing department, is there a marketplace for this? Do people want it? Well, quite clearly, people did. And the way business developed and commerce developed, it was a fantastic widget that was made. So let's think about this in terms of property and property development. Well, how many houses do we need? Have we got enough houses in this country? There's no point building homes. Doesn't have to be houses, could be flats, okay? Building homes, let's say homes, if no one wants them. So, we exist on an island, okay? Big island, to be fair, but we exist on an island. And within the island, we have a certain amount of people that want our product, homes. Well, how many is that? How many homes do people need? Because if the island is static in terms of its population and we've got enough homes, there's no point building more, because, yeah, you're going to attract some people from an old one to a new one, but ultimately, they've all got one. It's a bit like the mobile phone market. I would suggest it must be at a place now. I don't understand the mobile phone market, but one would suggest, if you think about it, isn't it logic to say pretty much anyone that wanted a phone has got one? So the only way we buy a new phone, because people like Apple are great at this, is they bring out a new iPhone and it's got a slightly better camera or a bit more technology or a bit of this or a bit of that, which frankly most of us don't need, but we want it because it's new. But there's a lot of people, my elderly parents included, who've got an old phone with buttons, smartphone in it, and all a smartphone is, they don't need a phone, don't need a smartphone. They just got a mobile phone, that's all they want. So if you think about it, that marketplace is saturated, and it's just the new developments that people are being attracted into. But what if we think about housing and homes? That marketplace is saturated. Well, the answer is no, it's not. Okay. The population within this country is forever rising. Not only are we living significantly older, okay, thank God, touch wood, that'll keep going, but our population, our medications, the way we live, it means that our population is living hugely longer than it did. You go back even 50 years. But we're also growing as a country, okay. Our country's growing in terms of population. Are we having more kids? Maybe, I don't know. But immigration is huge, okay? And I don't see that as a problem. I think that's a great thing. I mean, this country was built on immigration, so I know there's a lot of chatter around it now and not wishing to get political, but largely, from my point of view, it's great. It's great. It's a multicultural country is terrific. I think it enhances the country. And there's some great skills that get imported into this country. Yes, you're always going to get hangers on and you're always going to get wasters, sure. But I mean, you get them in a country anyway. It's not immigration that necessarily gives you that. So I think immigration is here and it is in most countries around the world. We're a very transient world population, and as many of us move abroad, as sometimes people moving into this country. So there's always going to be that. So the population is growing, and the requirement was stated, I'm going to suggest, a number of times over many years at 300,000. That's 300,000 new homes every year that were needed. And we don't build that amount of homes. Now, the reality is that's probably gone up. It gets very political with housing targets. And at the moment, the current government have quashed that and said, well, we're not going to even talk about housing targets. Why? Because you're not meeting them. It's not just the current government. No government ever meets these targets. So at the moment, currently, just roughly as a guide, we're delivering half of that, about 150, probably less. And that's been year on year. Going back over many years, we've only delivered half of the 300,000 that's needed. And isn't it interesting? They don't actually say, well, now it's 450. No, now it's 600. No, now it's 750. No, they don't. It's stuck at 300 despite only delivering 150,000. So think about this. Just think about this logically. There's 150,000 buyers available for new homes every year that there's not a product to buy. Imagine that if you were in the mobile phone market, go back to that as an analogy. And there was 150,000 people who wanted a mobile phone every year, but they couldn't get one because there wasn't enough to buy. It's almost absurd, isn't it? Because there's so many people supplying them. And of course, that would be the following year, that would be 300,000 people short, 450, 600,000. Wouldn't it be great if you could make a mobile, all you're going to do is make another mobile home. You don't need to invest in technology. You don't need to create a new product. It's just a product that exists. We just need to make more of them because we don't have enough. And there's 150,000 buyers every year who don't have one. That's exactly what we have in housing. We have 150,000 people every year who can't buy the product that they want because we don't make enough of them. And we don't have to reinvent it. Homes are homes. I know there's a lot of stuff and a lot of chatter and a lot of talk around modern methods of construction, modular homes, homes of the future, green homes, sure. And I'm not belittling that stuff. But the reality is, all you've got to do is build the Billy basic home, the most basic of homes. You don't have to have all these green credentials. You don't have to build it in modern methods of construction in a site somewhere in the country and then put it in and it goes up in a few days. No. You can keep it basic. You can build a basic home with technology that we've been using for 100 years. So imagine that. All you've got to do is you've got to produce it. It's like the mobile phones. Remember the old Nokias, all you've got to do is produce a Nokia. The technology's there. It's simple. Just build a Nokia that we used to have 30 years ago. Build enough of them, people will buy them. Isn't it bizarre if you think about it? I mean, think about that. Do you find that bizarre that in a way, all we've got to do, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to create any new technology. All we've got to do is build 150,000 products, widgets, with the technology that we probably had 100 years ago. Yeah, it can be enhanced a little, and people will buy them. It's great, isn't it? So the marketplace is there. And it's always been there. And it will, as I believe, for a number of years yet, because we're not going to catch up on that. So just think about it. Even that, I could stop this open door now. Even that would tell you that as a business strategy, as a property business strategy, it's got to be one of the best because there's a ready-made market. I mean, who's in HMOs? Yeah, a few of you in HMOs? How many towns and cities are HMOs at saturation point? To the point where actually local authorities are putting an article force and stopping it and restricting it. Quite a lot. Any near you? Yeah, I guess there is. What about service departments? I mean, we've all used them, but at saturation in some towns and cities, sure. Others, plenty of capacity. But I was actually talking to someone the other day down in the West Country where they live. They were actually saying local authority is blocking it completely because the ingress, the creation of service departments in many of the existing little cottages and towns have outpriced the locals because people are coming in. Why not? I guess from a business perspective, buying up a little cheap cottage, turning it into an SA and making a fortune. And of course, they're all competing because these SA operators can pay a lot more than the local population can pay for their little cottage because they're just on a regular wage in a regular little small town in the West Country. So some local authorities are blocking it. Fair enough. Legislation is coming in. It makes it more challenging. Rentals, more challenging. A lot of legislation, a lot of stuff in the favor of the tenants. Now, I'm not saying this is impossible. It's still workable. But as a business strategy, look at all the barriers. Look at all the red tape. Look at all the objections. Look at all the people fighting against you. We're building new homes. Even the government is encouraging you. We have something called permitted development rights. We've talked about that as a subject quite a lot on Open Door. Go back through some of the previous Open Doors and have a look. But even the government are supporting it with permitted development rights. So everyone's in favor. 150,000 widgets every year that people can build. So right now we could stop, but let's add to this. Let's layer this up. Let's have a think of what else makes property development as a business really interesting, and particularly right now. Well, right now, and it has been for several years, I've been talking about this for quite a while in the press, our world is changing. COVID's just accelerated it. COVID wasn't the catalyst, wasn't the primary thing, in my opinion, that changed the way that we operate in this world. Okay. The days of going to an office where we all had to go to an office to work together were dying anyway. It was only people, if you look a bit historic about it, it's only people like Google that actually said, oh, we've all got to go to an office and work together. Personally, I think it's great going in an office and building a team and working together. But the technology that we have, I mean, I'm sat here in the studio here, I've got screens all around me. I can talk to anyone, anywhere in the world as if I was with them. We can have these virtual meetings. We can do these things. It's great. We can share screens. We can show stuff. So technology was already leading us from a commerce point of view to work where we want. And why not? Spend a bit of time with family. Enjoy those things. I mean, no, where's my studio? You don't know where my studio is. Does it matter? Am I in my offices here at propertyCEO? Am I in the office down the end of my garden that I have at my home? And when I finish this, I can go out and have a coffee with my wife. Am I sat abroad? Am I in a villa abroad? And when I finish this, I'm going to go and have a dip in the pool, a bit of a siesta after that. You don't know. But it doesn't matter, does it? I can do this from anywhere. This is the great thing. So from a business point of view, the days of us all going into offices, they were numbered. They've been numbered for a long time. COVID accelerated this. And then retail. Retail, it's changed massively. Who enjoys? Let me ask you this. Do you enjoy going shopping? Okay, a few of you, I'm almost certain, got your hands up. Yeah, I love it. But for what? Okay, there's definitely some stuff that we like to go and shop for. Those special items, those special bit of clothing for a special event, or those special gifts. But for a TV, we just bought a new TV at home. Did I go to the shops and have a look at it? No, one TV look, just TVs. I read a few reviews online. I saw had a good deal. It was John Lewis, good warranty. Press the button. A couple of blokes turn up. There's my TV. Not a problem. Why do I want to go down for that? You've got to buy a new toaster. You're not going to troop round the shops looking for toasters, are you? How's that for a day out? How is that for a day out? If you think about it, have you got kids? Anyone got kids out there? Rainy winter's day, Saturday, you've had 4 days heavy at work, you've got a day off, and then your partner says, hey, let's go down and buy a new toaster. You've got to pile the kids in the car, get them up early, you've got to fight for a space, find some change for a parking meter because the card doesn't work. It's a complete mess. People barging in and out in front of you, trawl around all the shops, and all you're trying to do is buy a toaster. Really? We don't do that, do we? When was the last time you ever went to a shop to buy a toaster? Or whatever, a sandwich maker, I don't know, a kettle, whatever. You don't, do you? The world's changed. It was changing. It's changing for years. Shopping is interesting. We did have a call to go down to the shops, to the big local shopping area down here on the south. Southampton's got a huge, big shopping centre, okay? And we went down there for a specific reason. We had to go and get something in the shops, okay? Bit of a ball ache, I know, but we did. Okay, so my wife and my daughter. And my wife made this comment, and it was interesting. And she said, have a look around. Because I said, it's busy, isn't it? Quite surprisingly busy. She said, yeah. Have a look and see how many people have got bags. And hardly anyone had bags. Have a look next time you go out shopping. A lot of people, but hardly anyone was carrying shopping. I don't mean groceries. I mean, hardly anyone have bought. They were going down there for an experience, for something to do. The coffee shops, heaving. The restaurants, the cafes, heaving. The shops selling the goods and the products, browsing, probably go home and order online. It's interesting. Go and have a look. Next time, it's changing. So our high street was changing. Our city centres are changing. They have been way before COVID. COVID has just accelerated this. So the world has changed. The way we want to shop, because the technology's allowed us to do that. It's not just Amazon, lots of other people just allow us to press a button. And why wouldn't we want to do that? And someone drops it to our door. We go, thanks or no thanks, we return it. And with the way you can do the returns these days, it's a bit of hassle, but it's not as much hassle as driving all the way back into the shopping centre, is it? And Pioneer Park and battle through it. It's not. It's so much easier. It's on our terms. We shop on our terms. And so, have you got, let me ask you this. Where you live, your local big town, have you got one of those big precincts which ruled the race back in the 70s and 80s? Yeah, let's pave it all over. Let's have big precincts. People can wander around freely, pedestrianised zones. Let me ask you, if you haven't, careful, but go down there at night, okay? Go down your local shopping precinct, pedestrianised area at night, and see how safe you feel. Maybe don't get out of the car. Just have a peer over at the end of the precinct. And most of those places are just dire at night. They're just concrete monolithic. They're just horrible. And a few places that are, or a few people that are there in the places open, clubs, late night pubs, and not normally the best ones. We're not probably talking, a couple of people who's come out, had a nice meal in a Michelin-star restaurant. No, it's probably not. Okay? No disrespect, but it's probably people turning out of Wetherspoons and going into the local club. They're probably not the best, most friendliest members of society, particularly once they've tanked themselves up on a few bits of alcohol, which no doubt they have. So those precincts at night are dead. They're ghettos. And that's changing, isn't it? And that is changing because the shops are dying. The shops can't sustain because we've changed. We've changed as a nation. And so they're going to have to change. However they change, who knows? I think there'll be a huge amount of residential coming back into the into the centres, because that's what we need. We need life back into centres. So we need residential, cafe culture, and bespoke individual artisan businesses, little individual private businesses that do something different. You can go to Glasgow, you can go to Plymouth, you go up to Cambridge, and certain shops is exactly the same product. There's no variation. Going back 70, 100 years, you go to Glasgow, you buy certain products in Glasgow that are related to people in that area. Wasn't that nice about that? You go to Plymouth and the same. You go to Cambridge, the same. But the moment now, it's all these brands and all these chains. Well, just press the button, let's get them online. So the future, who knows what the future is? My suggestion, a strong belief, my opinion is that the future of our towns and cities, it is a mixed use. It's residential, cafe culture, little bespoke businesses, a little bit of light industrial, a little bit of offices, all mixed in together. So there's life 24/7 and a good quality mixture of life. Okay. I'm a great believer of mixing social housing with private housing stock rather than creating these. Let's put them all over there. All the people that can't afford to buy a house, put them all over there. Lowest demographic of society, quite often can be, and I'm not saying it always is, but sometimes it is. We put them all over there. Well, that's going to create a problem, isn't it? Mix everything up. We're all the same. You know, whatever your beliefs are, we come in the same way, we go out the same way in this world. So why can't we all live together? Just because some people either choose or can't afford to buy their own home, why shouldn't they live in the same street? So I think a massive change has gone on in society by mixing up housing. And I think that gives less areas that cause problems. And I think to extend that further into our towns and cities by having that complete mix of retail, residential, cafe culture, commerce, etc., is perfect. And what does all this mean? It means disruption. Disruption of the building stock, the available space. Because one thing, and almost certainly you'll all know this, new build land, finding land in this country, not only is extremely controversial because no one wants the land taken away, particularly not in their backyard, but it's few and far between. And actually what we do have, we have enough for, I think it's about 1.8 million, something like that, new homes available to be built out of what we call brownfield land, existing buildings. So we have so much existing stock. And of course, that stock is getting bigger and bigger and bigger because of all these empty offices and retail units and so on. If we just convert that, which everyone wants, no one objects to, a disused, rundown, boarded shop or set of offices being converted into something more usable and bringing life back into their town, of course they don't. Yes, let's go for that. And of course, from an environmental point of view, is that not better to repurpose rather than strip away greenbelt, rather than strip away, you know, all the nature and environmentals? Isn't it better to actually say we've got a structure there? We don't have to recreate it. We don't have to get all that waste and let's just convert it. Surely that's the right thing. You know, from an environmental point, it's got to be massive, and it is. And so actually the conversion of that existing stock, and that existing stock is getting higher and higher and higher, gives us a feeder to actually produce the houses that we need. So think about it, just to try and summarize this. I was talking about why, if you're looking at various strategies, why property development is the best property business strategy. Because the marketplace is there and it's forever extending, 150,000 a year, year on year. The availability of stock is there and extending year on year, 1.8 million, 1.9, 2, it's just going to go up. And the technology is there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. All you've got to do is you've got to learn, understand, get educated to actually find the stock, know what type of product you deliver in what area, okay, pull a team together, find the money. It doesn't have to be your money, because a lot of people think development, you can use other people's money to do this. So find the money when you know how, and I can tell you how to do that, but find the money, pull the money together, and go and deliver. Just think about it. Go back to the mobile phones. You could buy the old technology for the old Nokias. You could make them. If you could sell 150,000 a year, would you? You would, wouldn't you? But of course, the reality here on homes, for you to make, who'd like to make 200,000 a year? Anyone? Probably most of you. You don't need to sell 150,000. You probably only need to sell 6 or 7. If you sell 6 or 7 homes, 6 or 7 products, 6 or 7 widgets, as we're going to call it for today, a year, out of the 150,000, you could make £200,000 a year profit. How good's that? So there's room in this marketplace for many, many developers. Many, many small-scale developers can enter this marketplace because they're only going to be producing 6, 7, maybe 10, maybe 20 houses a year. Do you like it? Does it make sense? Is property development the best property business strategy? I think it is. But you make your own mind up. There we go. Hopefully you found that interesting. Hopefully you found that a little bit inspirational. Give us some comments. If you like what we do here at propertyCEO and Open Door, just give us a like. Share it with other people. Give me some feedback. If you're interested in a bit of free training, I've put together about an hour and a half training. It's called the 6-Figure Roadmap because it's about earning 6-figure sums. It's about earning 100, 200,000 a year. Click on this link. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll get the team to put it in. propertyCEO, grab a pen and paper. It's propertyceo.co.uk/SFR, 6-Figure Roadmap. propertyceo.co.uk/SFR. Hopefully you found that useful. So until next time, see you soon. Bye-bye.